Undivided Bridge podcast, a congregation of young voices from the neighborhoods of Chicago who wants to close the gap between people who may never cross paths otherwise. As the modern world continues to change rapidly, we must adapt together as a city. So, on this podcast, we have conversations about anything that affects our everyday life, how we eat, how we learn, how we create, and how we plan for the future. So, join us on this journey as we discover more about the communities around us and to do our part to talk solutions for the greater good. Hi, welcome to episode 3, Riches Within. My name is Keishjuan and this is
Chloe.
So, today we have 3 lovely guests. Please introduce yourselves.
Queen Prophecy, aka Shanna.
Cheryl Potts.
And Daryl Satcher.
Yes. So hello everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us. In this day and age, it is a constant struggle to stay on top of our diet, mood, and energy due to constant distractions and responsibilities. As we know, only 25% of Black Americans seek mental health assistance in comparison to 40% of their white counterparts. We are honored to have 3 guests that will share their views on how to eat, move, and think, ourselves into a more holistic lifestyle. So welcome.
To piggyback off that, we're honored to have you guys here. So without further ado, please introduce yourselves.
Oh, you guys want me?
I mean,
Yeah.
Queen first.
Is there any type of introduction that you want, like past my name? Is there anything you want me to say? Like,
I want you to say what makes you feel the most you, Queen.
And pronouns.
Don't forget about the pronouns.
Yes.
see, that's English. Not my strong point. Shanna, Queen, she. What makes me feel mostly me, authentically being authentically me. I think that once you get past all of the things that society kind of teaches you and you get to digging on the inside, I found out that me was enough.
Yes.
Great, Cheryl, and I prefer she, her pronouns, but I'll go and respond to any pronoun that's used with respect. And what makes, just being my authentic self every day, and it took me a long time to get there. I'm a person living with a mental health disorder and I'm a survivor of long-term sexual trauma, and it took me a very long time to embrace that as part of myself and know that I am valuable. And so I am here to celebrate everyone else's value.
Well, last but definitely not least.
So, Daryl, yoga instructor, meditation specialist, theater artist and film artist. I believe that arts and wellness goes hand in hand. So, I guess what makes me authentically me is prioritizing my self-care.
So to add on to that, gotta get that mic in there. So to add on to that, the beginning of leading, leading men. So can you explain more about that? What gets you up in the morning to make you that passionate to create such a wonderful yoga program and such?
So yeah, as you alluded to, my company is a leading man. We help specifically Black people, Black communities, and Black families heal and grow. It came from mainly my own experiences. Experiences of a lot of people passing on in my family, early on in my life and throughout my life. Just going through different things, understanding that some of the trauma that I went through didn't make sense. So I guess the more I got in tune, also I'm a teacher too, so just naturally. So when I learn something, there's just something in me that wants to teach people. And the actual name of the company actually came, I was on Lakeshore Drive. I remember coming from the north side. And I was thinking, this idea came of leading man. That's something that as an actor I aspire to be, but, what would it look like to live that like as a philosophy? So, that's basically where it came from. It took a lot of different shapes and sizes at that point. I was not into wellness. It was more of an art company. But let's see, about 7.5 years ago, I was 280 pounds. I was driving for Lyft 60 hours a week, eating out of drive-thrus. So I'd blown up, and I wasn't working out. It was not me. I was lying to myself saying I was an artist, but I was a driver. And I remember I got into this stage reading at Victory Gardens Theater. A couple of my castmates were yogis. That's all they talked about. And what brought me to Chicago was I moved to Chicago to go to Roosevelt to get my master's in fine arts and theater. And so the first year we would do sun salutations, and I had flat feet. So I remember the sun salutations would help my hips. And so I was driving for 60 hours, so my hips were hurting, but also we held a lot of subconscious tension in my hips. So my hips were screaming at me that I was not living my purpose. And so, as I said, my castmates were yogis. After a while, I asked, how often y'all go? They're like 4 or 5 times a week, which blew my mind. I knew I needed a spark. I was just saying, I need something. And so I went to the class. It was very difficult. I mean, they had weights and everything. It was the wildest yoga class you've ever seen. Burpees, everything. But they said, you get 2 free weeks a year of yoga. Take all the classes, see what you think. So I did. And I was teaching at Columbia at the time, so I would drive through traffic, walking into that studio with road rage and anxiety and this constant irritation and frustration. And I walked in, I thought all the white folks were staring at me, wondering what I was doing there. The poses were a lot more difficult than I had learned, but I would walk out of that studio with a lot of peace. So much so that it would sometimes take me 45 minutes to an hour to leave the studio because I didn't need peace to leave it. So I realized those white folks weren't staring at me. I got into the poses and the flow and the music and everything, and mainly the culture of yoga. And let me explain what that means because there's a lot of misconceptions. The culture of yoga is teaching you to enjoy the journey, not focus on the destination. Focus on the journey and the growth, and it saved my life because I was on a one-way trip to a heart attack. But I think even worse, my spirit for living was dying, and so I really consider myself a spirit care specialist because I see that in a lot of people, and I think with my people specifically, with our people specifically, and other people too, of course. I feel like one of the worst things that happened to us, because a lot happened to us, we know, a lot of great things happened before. We'll talk about that another time, maybe later. But I think our ability to dream and imagine has been severely scarred. So I try to help people find that. So when I teach yoga, it's mind, it's body, it's spirit. And uplifting that spirit. And I don't care if you're a Christian or an atheist, you can get something from that. And it'll help you wherever if you need to. If you're talking to Jesus, I think it'll help you with that. If you're talking to nature, I think it'll help you with that. So that's what I want to do.
I like to dig deeper into that segment. So how important is it for businesses to pay attention to men's mental health? So there are a lot of
businesses?
Yes, specifically yours, actually.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think it's vital, because I think there's a lot of men that suffer in silence. I joined some Facebook groups, with me dealing with men in depression, and some of the stories that you hear is truly heartbreaking. And people in their lives have no idea what they're going through.
TikTok for me personally, I see a lot of things I'm not proud to say about men's mental health that I see just by scrolling through that algorithm.
Yeah.
It kind of upsets me a little bit to know that I'm not alone in this pain. And it's not usually misery loves company, but in this case, it definitely feels uncomfortable knowing that me and you have pain that we can't speak about, let alone be able to have an expression.
Well, the important, you're right, but the important thing is providing those spaces to be able to speak, providing those safe places where you can be open, but also finding that sacred space within yourself. And me being 46, I've seen a lot. I've been through a marriage, a separation, a divorce. As I said, people passing on, having children. So I understand, some of the pressures that come with that. And I've lost a condo during the pandemic. I was homeless during the pandemic. Fortunately, I was on the street. I got close to that, but so I've been through a lot of things, and I think that I've experienced a lot of this so that I can help a lot of people who experience a lot of these different things. So that's how I like to look at it. It's not always easy to look at it when you're going through it, obviously.
Yeah.
But you know, that's when for me, yoga became a healthy addiction, because I think like a lot of people do, when life gets busy, we let go of the things that are really keeping us going and keeping us shining throughout. We let that go. I remember finals week in college, I'm not working out this week, when I should have been working out even more. And so yoga and meditation, it taught me, no, this is your main self-care functions. I have other things that I do too. But for example, the mother who raised me passed away in 2019. So the first place I went after I left the house was to the yoga studio. You know, and you know, I looked for different things, and I went to Laurie's class on purpose because she used to play this song that would remind me of my mother. It's called Fast Car, and we got some old school folks in there, Tracy Chapman. That's probably the last album like my mother bought. And we used to take this trip from Nashville to Anderson, a 4-hour trip one way. We listened to that 1 hour. I'm sorry, cassette tape. Let's get old school. 4 hours there. And 4 hours back. I hated that song. Almost cussed. I hated that song.
I thought this about
But it does, because that song was played during that yoga class. I love that song now because it makes me think of her. At the time, I hated it because we listened to it too much. But now I knew that she was there and she was okay when I heard that song from yoga class.
Thank you, Daryl, for sharing your experiences. We're actually going to move on to topic 2, which is You Live Well as You Dance. Miss Queen. Welcome.
Glad to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, so how does music connect to your attitude about life?
Oh my gosh, music is everything. Music is everything. I mean, when I think of music, and even when I'm thinking of, even on a universal level, we all sing one song. It's really beautiful, and that song is love. It's so beautiful. But what music does, music is one of those things that it literally grabs all of your senses. You know, it's the one thing that takes you all the way in, and that's why I love music. You can listen to music that is positive, that gives you that motivation. You can get that music that's going to help you deal with that pain that you may be feeling deeply. It's a love language, you know. It's how you speak. Music is a movement. Yes. You don't need to get back to it. I'm just saying.
Yes. Thank you for that. I totally agree. Just with me, music has played a big part of my healing journey, and so I definitely could connect on that aspect.
Yeah, just because I don't talk about it, and Daryl kind of mentioned. I think he's probably the only person that really mentioned what he does. Maybe I should do that. So, my name is Queen Prophecy. I'm a hip hop conscious performer, and I do a lot of conscious. I teach, and I'm all about. I know when people hear it, they're going to hear a lot of like Black music, but it's really inclusivity. You know, I'm teaching. Basically, I'd like to just tell the truth so we can get back to the truth, so that we can then move forward, right? And I do that through music, and I do it through music because music is that thing. Like I said, it gets all your senses. So no matter what crowd I'm listening to, when I put that out there, those high vibrational frequencies to get people uplifted, it gets all of their attention. You know, and before they know it, they're jamming to the music. You know what I'm saying? And next thing they're going, oh, she's saying something too. You know, so it's my opportunity to get your attention and then teach you something at the same time. You know, it's a slick way to do that. But I also have a company called Inciting You. Basically, I mean, it's exactly what it is. It's all about teaching people about the self. I give consultations. I work with schools where I do social emotional skills. I'm a motivational speaker, and hip hop is under that as well. I actually teach youth in a lot of these settings that I'm in. I teach them hip hop. So what they do is they give me all of their music. You know, they give me the Migos, the Cardi B's, you know, anybody, and I basically change it. What we do is we make it more about the community and give a more positive feel. You know what I'm saying? Like we do this Cardi B's Bodak Yellow. For some reason I could not get that for the longest time. But anyway, but I make the kids do this chant where they're like, yo, check this out. You can't mess with us if you wanted to. Be successful, stay less stressful, about them winning attitudes. We don't want to. So So, but again, and that makes that, it speaks to who they are. I tell people, you listen to the music nowadays, and you know they're talking about a lot of things that people aren't doing. You talking about money we ain't got. Like, so, you know, we want to keep up this facade with all this clothing and stuff, but you know, I tell them, make your own clothing. What about you have your own name brand? Why does it have to be that you got to go after, none personal, none proud of them, sorry, don't take it personal, but it don't always got to be you. It don't always got to be Gucci. You know, you can actually have your name. You know, the kids tell me they want to be basketball players, well, call yourself Air Juwan, you know what I'm saying? But make your own, you know, and that's a huge thing for me. So music is a way for me to get people thinking like that. Without being able to have to go to one person at a time, I get to touch many at the same time.
Actually, on the low, so one of my favorite parts of teaching yoga is making playlists. I don't know if I told you this. One of your songs is on my playlist.
What? That is so cool.
And this would be a great time to say, stream your passion first. I'm assuming that's the name of the song?
Yes.
Stream it.
It's actually not out though, but there's a video out.
Is it?
I work for this organization, Your Passion First, you know, these shirts. And I actually wrote a song on behalf of the organization, and I'm speaking to all organizations that are out here doing the work and how it's important to put your passion first. That actually helps with your mental health when you actually like what you're doing. You know, that's when you know, when you like what you're doing, you're dancing and you're exercising, that's a lot to do with endorphins. You know, you get those endorphins going. We gotta have a balance. We can't just be mad. So music helps with that.
I agree. So, you can't leave you out.
Right.
I just want to keep listening. I mean, I got nothing to add to this.
Oh no, you definitely
And I think that how we have this conversation flow, it beautifully flows right back to you, since you are definitely a mental health director. So what are the roles and responsibilities of that?
Sure. So I'm the executive director of the Community Mental Health Board of Oak Park Township. And basically we fund services. So we look at where are the gaps in Oak Park and the surrounding communities, because we work in collaboration. And we look at, you know, what is not being funded by state and federal funding, what is specific to us, and how do we help those problems? How do we help those challenges? So we do a lot of funding in that way, but also we work really hard to make structural change too, because right now the way that the systems work, we could have a whole episode on that, but the way the whole systems are set up right now are just excluding people. And there are not enough resources, there's not enough value for mental health care. There are not enough people working in the field right now to meet the need and to meet the wide diversity of people who come to the table. And so we're trying to change some of that one step at a time as much as we can.
Okay.
Yes.
I can dig it.
And that's important.
Right, it is very important. So thank you so much everyone for joining us. And just real quick, I just want to ask everybody in like 1 minute or less, tell us, you know, what actions we can take as adults to support our youth.
Open-ended question.
Yeah.
I guess one thing I would say is listen.
Yes.
A lot of times we're not listening. We automatically have these ideas of what we think things are supposed to be. But I know for me, when I'm having a hard time in life and I call my friends up, I want to vent. I want to get it out. I don't necessarily need you to say anything to me. Sometimes you just have to be okay with just listening to what they have to say. Stop making assumptions. Don't assume that you think you know everything and what they're supposed to do next. Sometimes they know what they need to do next. But sometimes you have to allow them to at least vent their feelings out. They're human.
So I 1000% agree with listening. That is one of the most important things we can do. And I think also adults need to embrace the fact that we've messed up this planet to begin with, and we've created all the problems that youth are inheriting. And whether that is mental health, whether that is racism, whether that is environmentalism, whether, you know, all of the issues that are going on are because of us. And I think we need to not only respect that and embrace that, but realize that youth have the answers, and we need to support you and get out of your way.
Yes.
And definitely we need to listen for sure. And I say definitely take that announcement. Also, I think we need to understand that we didn't grow up, because those love to say we grew up so much harder than you. You walk backwards up the hill, ways uphill, but we didn't grow up with social media. So we don't know what that's like. You know what I mean? So it is different, and there are different challenges that come with that. And I would also say I would advise you to protect your imagination. That's a quote from Kobe Bryant. Protect your imagination.
Wow.
You know, and I'll just add to that, since I'm bringing Kobe up. I'm a Mamba mentality scholar. I think it's amazing. But if somebody asked him, do you think you could score 100 points like Will? He said, why would I stop at 100? And his point was, why would my vision, my dream stop, have a limit? Why would I put a ceiling on my dreams?
Wow.
So protect your imagination.
Yes. I love that. And to, add on to that, like loving and living without loving without boundaries. And so I think that's very important. Healing without boundaries as well. And so that brings me right back to Miss Queen. So why do you think music unifies people better and compared to other creative outlets?
Good question. I don't know. Because I think that the reality of that is, music it's everywhere, I guess. So that's why it's easier access to it. Where we're not doing a whole lot of yoga on everywhere. You don't see it everywhere. You don't see art everywhere.
Right.
Can I say that it's better? No, I can't. It's just that we don't see it. So I think if we probably had more options, more platforms for other arts.
I agree.
Because everybody isn't going to. Everybody's outlet isn't going to be the same. Music works for me, but music may not work for everybody. So I can't say unifies people better than I can't say that. I can just say that other outlets haven't been given the same respect as music has.
Yes.
I think because music is so influential, and they actually use it as they've weaponized it at this point. So that other stuff is too much. It's too easy to get that healing from the other thing. They can probably pretty much mess with the music to get to mess with our minds. So I feel like that's. I don't know if that really can say it unifies us. It's just that it can work because you can hit the masses a lot at greater rates when it comes to music.
Yes, and I can also, just to add on to that too, I feel like, wow, I just forgot what. See, my mind be blanking sometimes. But yes, to add on to that, I feel like it's like it's like another language. I feel like you said, it reaches the masses, and a lot of people can just, get up and sing, or hum or something. So, that is just we come together with music.
I think it's huge that you said also energy.
Yes,
because that's what it's all about. It allows us to get that energy out there, and we connect through energy. And when you talk about like how we communicate, I always tell people language is something that somebody decided that's how we communicate.
Right.
When I talk to a cat, it can understand the same thing without me having to speak English.
Wow,
because of the
yes.
energy that we connect with.
Yeah.
So I think that also helps with music, is because when you're able to get those high vibrational, that energy out there, it can connect with the people, like I said, because it's connecting at such a great rate, at such high levels.
Right, yes.
It makes a big difference.
I know that we've talked about how so influential music is. So we talked about accessibility, and I agree there isn't a lot of access to a lot of things, especially yoga. So I want to ask you, how can you incorporate yoga into our everyday lives for it to be more accessible?
Great question. I think just continuing to introduce it to people that there's such a stigma on it, from television, and people think, oh, that's for, I see
That's for white people.
That's for soccer moms. That's for, it's a specific, thing, and then television doesn't help either, because the way they depict it on movies and television is just ridiculous.
Right. Very, very sexualized.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
That is true, actually.
That's the reason why it turned me off from young, because I'm like, I didn't come up in there to hump. I came up in there to stretch.
That's a hump.
That's how I was feeling when I was watching all the older movies.
Okay.
I thought we were doing exercises, man. So I definitely agree with you.
When I became a teacher, I got trained at Core Power Yoga in Oak Park, but my mind was on the west side. I didn't want to bring beach to the sand. That's why I never taught there. That's my home.
I agree.
So I wanted to try to reach those people that wouldn't be caught dead on the mat. So I created a class for men called Grown Ass Man Yoga.
I love that.
Because I wanted people to
I love that.
Right. I can just add some things to it too. So like the playlist is, sometimes I play a little blues, sometimes I play a little hip hop, sometimes we need some Tupac. You know what I mean? Yeah, there we go.
Sometimes we need no music.
So it's, and then, we maybe do some slow motion push-ups and different things like that. Just, but then also, we created a space for us to talk. And then we extended the meditations. And I think that became great. One of my favorite moments in Grown Ass Man Yoga, this guy came to me and said, I want to thank you. And I was like, for what? He said, because I would always say, when you think you have nothing left, you always have at least 40% left.
Yep.
And that's a quote from David Goggins. Look him up. And he said, my cousin, who had came to the class once, his daughter passed in November, his cousin. Father passed in December. And then had another person pass in January. And his cousin said to him, I have nothing left. And he said, you always got 40% left. It became their mantra. The cousin got it tattooed on his arm. So that, like things like that, being able to share those lessons and somebody be able to, that's the whole goal of what I'm doing when I teach. So that you can take the lessons off the mat and incorporate them into your life.
Wow.
And that's what it's all about. So most days I start my day with some yoga and meditation, and I can't tell you the difference it makes. And the difference it makes when I don't start my day with yoga and meditation. My boss is getting on my nerves a little bit more. My road rage is a little hard. All of it's a little bit, things get to you. But it's like it creates this force field where things can't get to you.
Wow.
This peaceful force field.
Thank you so much, Daryl, for sharing that, because that is a segue into the next question with Cheryl. How can Oak Park and Austin support each other in their mental health journeys?
Well, I think step number one is clone the four of you. Please. But Daryl had talked about stigma, and that is such a significant piece of mental health. And we need to, one of the reasons why I always put forward my own story in my 30-second elevator speech is because I want to address that head on and throw that elephant in the room. So that if people they don't even need to say it out loud, but like embracing inside themselves that they are okay and they are normal and it is okay to not be okay. That is key number one. Second piece of it, and this is something I'm doing as a learner in the community. I'm not originally from Oak Park. I was born and raised in New Jersey. But Oak Park is very we have the answers and we bring it to the world. And so, and as a white woman, I am constantly trying to check myself with that too, and listen, getting back to the listening piece, because again, we don't have the answers. We are all experiencing the problems together, and instead of setting up a dichotomy of I'm good, you're bad, I'm healthy, you're unhealthy, I don't have a mental illness, you have a mental illness.
Like
It does
blame game is
nobody.
little.
Yeah.
It doesn't get us anywhere. We've been doing it for decades. We're still spinning our wheels. So instead, I think it all comes down to community. And we've gotten so far away from that. We've gotten so far away from just treating humans as humans that we need to get back to that instead of seeing someone as a problem to be fixed. It is, we see people as people and we connect with their humanity. And I think until we do that, we're not going to get anywhere. And that's not specific to just Oak Park and Austin.
Right.
This is our world. I'm, like I said, I'm a learner in this, and so those are just my thoughts.
I always say that they didn't give us the blueprint on how to live life. I said, I got here, didn't nobody hand me a blueprint. So I think we're all in this world trying to figure it out. And I think we just got to be fair about that.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So we're already talking about action steps. So what have you and the board been doing to actually make these things more tangible to the people in both the Austin and the Oak Park area?
Yeah, well, one of the projects that we're working on right now is about figuring out and reinventing crisis response for people with a mental health disorder. Because having a mental illness is not a crime, at least last time I checked. I have not in Oak Park, but in my life I've experienced mental health crisis, and I lost my brother to suicide. And you're experiencing people in their worst moments. And we need to, again, bring humanity and compassion to it. Again, we need to treat it as not, we are solving a problem in this 1 hour and moving on. We have to make sure that people have that care to help grow and hopefully won't have a crisis again. And so this is an area that we're looking at where a mental health crisis needs mental health responders.
Wow.
We don't need the police. We don't need the fire department. We need mental health responders.
Yes.
And so that's one of the projects that we're working on right now. We're also really excited to say we're moving our offices to the Community Recreation Center that's going to be opening with the Park District. And the idea behind that is, getting back to Daryl's point, integrating mind, body, and soul.
Wow.
So, it is being built from the Park District from a physical health perspective. We're going to bring the mental health perspective. And so we're going to bring in wellness classes. We're going to bring in suicide prevention classes. Individuals who want to go through mental health first aid, we'll be providing that for free. So it's just a greater opportunity, especially because the after school hours will be serving, the place will be closed just for middle schoolers and high schoolers too. So those are two things that we're working on.
I'm actually impressed. I will lay that out on the table.
I am too.
So since my little creative brain, I know you guys are talking about don't let it die. So here it is coming in full fruition. What can you three do to make sure that you guys still stay connected after this interview? To the point where, because all of you guys have definitely did a lot for the community. You guys have beneficial services. I
was going to have first.
you know. So I've already experienced the wonderfulness of you. I've done some yoga with you. You're still the mystery woman that I still want to do work with and collaborate with. So I'll say it once and I'll say it again. How can we all collaborate after this?
Wow.
To make sure this is more tangible and something I'm actually more passionate about telling my peers in Austin.
I like that. I guess it just started with contact. Let's get each other's contact information.
Okay,
Do a follow-up email to say I'm here. I remember you.
And action.
And get the discussion started.
Yes.
Because that is one thing that we all struggle with. Everybody says, I'm going to meet with you, and then it's like after this,
I'm just like,
Right.
the time.
So you actually have to do some follow-through to be in
Yes.
contact with one another.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm not shy, and I'm also not afraid to say when I don't know things. Like, I appreciated your answer earlier when you were like, I don't know the answer. Because I'm like, yes, that's where, and I'm constantly seeking out others to learn from and collaborate with and just stumble through this journey with, you know, we're, like you said, we don't have a blueprint. We got to stumble through this journey together. And as long as we are stumbling intentionally and with good intentions, then I would be honored to do it with you guys.
Thank you. Yes.
Last but not least, I gotta hear from you. Come on, man.
I was gonna say, just find those ways to collaborate. Shanna and I was saying, I think we got something. It's a way we can, connect and do more with Shanna. I've actually done work together.
Daryl actually does reach out
He's
to me.
like, I don't know what you're talking about, Keishjuan.
I'm going to get an email from Daryl. I have this thing I'm working on. There's some connection here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I gotta call you too.
We all do this right spots.
Yeah.
So, I have no more serious questions to ask you guys, but I do have one off-topic question. How was your day today?
Right.
Everybody's coming here all cheesy, but how was your day today? What made you want to come here?
My day was great because number one, I work from home. I didn't have to talk to anybody, didn't have any meetings. I did emails all day long. So
love it. Self-care.
Self-care, yes. I was all about me. It was me and my cat.
Ooh, love it.
We hung out. We picked a movie together.
Nice.
Right. Must be nice.
It was some love movie, like some little Hallmark movie on Peacock.
I love those.
I was pretty excited about the fact I'm taking pictures of the fact that she's actually watching. I was like, look, I'm watching TV.
Share those photos. I will. Please.
That's great. You watch the Hallmark movies, I watch the murder horror movies.
Those mess with my energy.
The uplifting.
Especially if there's a narrator in the background telling you the actual historical precedence of these scenes, just
Okay.
I think I see that in real life.
Seems like I need to watch out for somebody. I'm just kidding.
Hey.
My day was great because I was looking forward to coming here, and that's genuine. I'm not just saying that, but I really was, and I really appreciate the question because so many times people say, "Oh, how are you?" but they don't really mean it.
Right. Yes.
So,
thank you.
you guys are telling me about your personal lives. I'd be a weirdo if I didn't ask how the day was.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, my day was great because I started with a miracle morning magic ritual, with a meditation, mantras, and so I made a decision it was going to be a great day before I left the house.
Yeah, that's it.
I guess this question's on me now. Huh?
Yeah.
Today was pretty peaceful. Not many people know, but I do instruct students, so it was definitely enjoyable. They are a handful, but they're the handful that I don't mind putting my hand out for.
Oh, love that.
So I noticed that there's a lot of things that go on at home and it transfers over to school. So a quick conversation would definitely do me wonders because there's a lot of rambunctious kids, a lot of boisterous kids in the class who like to get in fights, tussle and all that, but understanding why they do that and understanding that they don't have the access to the expressions that's needed helps me create better teaching styles and learning styles for the students. So.
Wow, that's good. And then, yes, and I'm just gonna wrap it up with my day. I actually woke up in a sense of urgency today. I needed to do something. So I planned an action today. So yes, after this, there's an action. Hope to see y'all there. And so thank you so much for joining us here at the Undivided Bridge. It was an honor to speak with all of you. And yeah, we out. We out.
This is the Undivided Bridge.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. All right, good job, y'all.